Welcome, ghouls and goblins, back to another episode of Sleep Talk, our sideshow on Dreamers Theater. It's basically just a show where I, as a white man, can exercise my ability to host a podcast.
Let's go, dude. I don't think there's enough enough things of white men with microphones.
I don't think there is. That's why we're doing another.
We are truly giving the world a gift right now.
Yeah. And so on today's episode, we're doing something a bit different from what we're normally have done, which is like we have a topic and everything. But for this one, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of do an interview with Aka, as he's pretty new to this hobby, and I thought it'd be really interesting to get like that kind of new player perspective and share it with everyone. But before we start, I am legally obligated to plug everything that we're on. We have social medias. I think we're on Blue Sky and TikTok, right? Okay, good. I don't remember that. I didn't forget that. And we also have an email in case you want to email us. It is theaterdreamers0@gmail.com. That is theaters with an R-E. I don't have a good joke for this one though. So we're just gonna leave it at that.
It's spelled with R-E because we said smiley face.
Yeah. True. Yeah, the smiley face is mandatory.
Yes. And then also you could check us out on YouTube for a bit of visual stuff. And then we are on pretty much everywhere you can get podcasts other than Apple Music, I think because we had to pay for it or something, and no. And then also
I don't support Steve Jobs.
So real. And then all of our artwork is done by Kittie Ravenfeather, and that's also in the description. So let's get down to the brass tacks. What do we got?
Yeah, let's do it. I think probably just before we start, I probably should have mentioned this sooner, but it is for this episode just me, Dylan, and then Aka.
Oh yeah, good point. We didn't really give a proper introduction. But yep.
that's our intro. Don't worry. So on top of that, I think it'd be important to kind of give a background of myself, the interviewer. I have been playing TTRPGs for, I want to say, maybe 6 or 7 years now. I started on 5e like you do. You always start on 5e. And then over the course of the years, I've developed a deep vitriol of 5e. I hate 5e.
Seems to be the common theme.
Yeah, Slive and I are on the same page here that 5e sucks. But it's also a good gateway game, I think. So I've been doing this hobby for a fairly long time, not super long in the grand scheme of things, but I have some experience, I would say. It doesn't show in my character acting, but it is true. And Aka, these projects have been like your first like foray into this hobby, right?
Yeah, I still kind of think that it's funny that I was like invited to be a part of this, and Sly was just like, I know you haven't really done it, but if you want to. And I'm like, I really hope this is gonna make for okay content of someone who's literally never done anything like this before, just jumping full in and being like, wait, so what does a save roll mean? But I think I've hopefully gotten the grasp pretty well over the last couple months.
I feel like you've been doing pretty good. I suppose for my first question, this is not. I'm not going to introduce every question like this. This is not a game show. But I guess for my first question is, I just kind of want to ask you kind of what your background is on RPGs in general, like what you played in the past, if you do still play them, and like maybe that has informed any of your like opinions or feelings about TTRPGs.
Yeah, really, funnily enough, when I was younger especially, I didn't even like RPGs that much. I just, I was always just, like, a very, like, what's the most immediate gratification video game? So, like, a lot of, like, ADHD racing games and platformers were, like, the main thing that I would play. But, Skyrim broke that mold for me. And then...
You know, I've never played Skyrim before.
That is mind-blowing. It was released like 47 times.
It's like, yeah, on every console known to man. I still haven't played it.
Well, you're missing out. We need a podcast session game night where someone just plays Skyrim and everyone else watches.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. We should do that.
But let's get back on the topic.
I'm sorry.
So Skyrim was the thing that kind of like broached me into RPGs, and then I started playing a lot more unintentionally Bethesda shilled because Fallout is also probably one of my favorite RPGs.
Oh yeah.
And I've been trying to branch more into the stuff like Persona and all of those types of games. It's just a bit time consuming, as almost all RPGs seem to be, to where
they're super long.
Yeah, and like it's hard to pick up something like that for me, to where it's like, oh, I've got like an hour to play, where it's like, well, I want to play for like 8 hours. I want to burn through like all of the story in one sitting. But it's very rewarding. It's been enjoyable getting more into like the story building types of things instead of just like the Call of Duty level entertainment where it's just like, all right, you're going to do this for 10 minutes and you're going to like it.
You're going to shoot bad guys on Nuketown for 15 minutes and you're going to like it.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with it, but it is significantly more gratifying to actually be into like a full story.
You know, all of these games that you've just mentioned, I've never played before.
What do you play?
I've never played Skyrim, never played Fallout, I've not played Persona, I've not even played Call of Duty.
That like feels hard to believe.
It's true. It's true. Like I have never done anything. Well, I mean, okay, so I guess I have played COD, but I've only played the single player.
Well, trust me, you're not missing much on the multiplayer because it's aggravating.
Well, I'm no stranger to playing aggravating games.
True. The Elden Ring game.
I just play League of Legends. It's awful.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
My mental health rapidly deteriorates. Anyway. Okay. So, you know, it's actually kind of the same for me. I didn't play RPGs as a child. Don't gasp. I don't know. I'm just not into them that much. I was a League of Legends gamer and also a Mario gamer.
Now we're talking.
Those are my two things.
That is literally like the happiest and the most evil timelines to be a part of.
But the one, like, I didn't play many RPGs, but like the one RPG I did play was like one of the first games I ever played was World of Warcraft.
Let's go.
So I take a lot of inspiration from that. Like when I'm making stories for my home games, I steal a lot of their mechanics and implement them into my home games. I take a lot of like character inspiration, character concepts from the game and the world, and kind of do them in this. I haven't got any characters on this podcast yet that are like largely inspired by World of Warcraft. Well, I guess maybe Damien is a little bit inspired by just the goblin mentality in World of Warcraft, but that's all I have really for RPG experience. So I guess you're doing better than I.
I kind of forget that like MMORPGs are still RPGs. Like in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that is like, technically an RPG.
They're like kind of. I don't know.
Even like Slive had brought up something to where I guess there is like a phenomenon for playing TTRPGs that's called the Skyrim effect, to where like you only ever play single player RPGs, so you're kind of like self-gratifying the entire time you're playing like D&D.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that would have been me if I didn't have more knowledge, just because like I'm just like, oh yeah, I guess there is like a whole group that has to be tailored to this situation, not just me.
Don't play TTRPGs like they're single player games. Don't do that. That's a recipe for disaster. You'll make your other fellow PCs feel bad. Just don't do it. But that's not what we're talking about today, so maybe you should do it, I guess. Whoa. I'm not advocating anything.
Legal advice taken from the Dreamers Theater podcast.
Yeah. We're not. I think we have to say that we're not legally allowed to give legal advice. I don't like. We will go to jail if we do that.
But we can give advice on crypto.
We can. Yeah. I think there was like the recent episode. Is this gonna date us? I think this might date us.
It's definitely gonna date us.
We were talking about
Almost
Ethereum.
guaranteed.
We were talking about Ethereum. In the Sanctum.
Oh yeah, I forgot
That
what
was
you
so
were talking
awesome.
about. Even.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Funny stuff.
everybody, thank you for coming to Dreamer Cedar.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually gonna be rebranding to a crypto podcast.
I thought you were just ending the episode. I thought that's what the joke was about to be.
No, we're
right,
rebranding. We're selling Yolanda coin.
Yo, hold on. There's a market for that.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting.
Please
off.
invest. Please, I'm sorry. I do actually have something to move on to, and that's that I want to ask you, because I don't think we really got this on the podcast anywhere else, but I want to ask you how you were like feeling about the character creation in particular, like when you were making your first character, Shiro, for the 5e campaign that we're doing. How was that whole process for you, and like how are you feeling about it then? How are you feeling about it now? Are you like more confident, or are you like, damn, this character sucks? I usually do the latter.
No, Nox is great.
Yeah, I'm not at the point where I'm like, damn, this character sucks yet.
We haven't reached reflection point yet.
Yeah.
But when we do,
Yeah, I'm switching characters.
I think I had like very loosely talked about this on one of the other Sleep Talk episodes, but like for D&D specifically, well, I guess all of them, because with CompCon and everything for Lancer, it is also a lot. But like D&D feels so overwhelming to where it's just like, here's 45 different things that you can do. Pick one. And so I feel like it is kind of helpful to have somebody who's done it before kind of like guide you through it, especially to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit. I didn't realize that I'd never equipped spells until I was level 7. So that's somehow
where we're going, we don't need spells.
It entirely just moved right past me. So it is like a lot, and that's not a bad thing. I feel like the people who are used to it and the people who would enjoy it definitely get a lot out of how much there is. But for somebody who's brand new, it's like just a little bit to be like, oh shit, I have no idea what like the correct option is here. But
yeah.
I think
It's a learning curve.
I think Shiro's really getting fleshed out pretty well, though. Like he is not what I expected him to be in like the first like pitch for the character, but I think that's a good thing because the pitch that I had for him was like significantly more like snarky and kind of jaded, and that doesn't feel like a fun character to play. So I think I've like unintentionally just kind of pivoted into something that's a little bit more enjoyable, and whether that works for the story, I'm not 100% sure, but it just kind of felt like it would be dull to just be somebody who's just like, this sucks, that sucks, I don't care.
I like Shiro. I think he's pretty neat.
Thanks.
He's dripped out too.
It's true. He is
We
absolutely goated with the sauce.
So dripped out. And then they steal your clothes, and now you're not dripped out anymore. It's fucked up.
Now I'm wearing the potato sack.
It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up.
We should have a riot in Rena to get our drip back.
That's true. That's true. We should do that. I think we need to overthrow the government.
It needs to be quirked up white boy summer.
Yeah, man. Sure. Last I checked, I'm not white boy. Well, I am in real life, but I'm not like Nox is like green shit.
Quirked up ethereal boy summer.
True. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I do agree with you that I think 5e is very overwhelming right at the beginning, like right when you're starting out. There's a lot happening in 5e, and now this is the point where I want to veer off into more 5e hatred, which I think we should like copyright this topic for the podcast, just hating 5e. we can make so much money, because I think 5e is very hard to pick up and then is not deep at all once you learn it.
That, it's funny that you say that, because like I feel like I've said this before, but like it feels like they give you like 40 different options to do in a turn, but you're only ever doing maybe 3.
Yeah. Like, there's so many different types of actions you can take, but most of them are just not worth it ever.
Is there like, from, a newcomer's perspective, is there ever like a reason why there's so many different things, or did they kind of just want to make it be like, hey, look at how much stuff there is, isn't that neat?
I believe the reason there's like a lot of options is to give people the ability to like do a lot of things with very specific circumstances. Because the point of 5e, I think, is to basically be a halfway point between a mechanics tack RPG and like a narrative driven RPG. And they failed on both fronts, in my opinion. They didn't fuck it up. I think 5e is a good gateway into the hobby, and I think it's like what it's got is pretty good. It's just that like what it's got angers people on both sides. Like if you're like a mechanics focused tack RPG enjoyer, 5e is not nearly deep enough to kind of facilitate that. You're better off going off and playing Pathfinder with all of its rules and all of its character building and like actual feat builds, and you can have different builds, which I think is very interesting. I'm on that side, so I think 5e sucks because it's too simple. But then again, it's also too complicated to be a narrative only game because it's got all these extra rules that are very specific. Versus something like Fate Core, which is very simple with its rules. I don't exactly remember what it is, but it's like way simpler. I think there's only like one type of die in it. So that's my problem with 5e, is that it's like it's trying to do two things at once, and that's why there's so many of those very specific rules. And then it kind of doesn't do either. It's caught in a median between the two, but not in a good way, I think.
Yeah, I definitely see the issue with that, especially for people who've been doing TTRPGs for so long. And I do kind of see the other side of it, though, to where if you are newer to it, it kind of gives you the inspiration to take it either direction. But
yeah,
for me, like, even with like Lancer, we should be timed well enough to like kind of talk about our characters and everything, where my character Chutney is just point and shoot. Like, he literally does nothing other than like move a certain direction and then make things explode, to where
yes sir,
that felt like that was pretty much like all I needed to do. But then like yours and Micah's characters are so like intricate, where you're like, I'm gonna hack into them and make them fucking catch on fire. Where it's like, I didn't even know that was an option, but that's a sick ass option. So I feel like Lancer kind of tailors a little bit better to like the freedom to make things as simple or complicated as they need to be for your own playstyle. To where 5e kind of just feels like it's, here's all of the options, you have to look at them all the time, but realistically, it's not anything as like deep as you probably want it to be.
Yeah. My biggest problem, or one of my biggest problems with 5e, is that while there is a lot of like choice up front, there doesn't end up being a lot of choice in like making your character, and I think that's like a big kind of loss for the game, and that's something that I think Pathfinder does really well. Is in 5e you get your class, you get your subclass, and then every 4 levels you either get 2 ability score improvements or you get a feat, and that's like pretty much all the customization you can do on your character, which right at the beginning feels like a lot, because like, whoa, there's like all these classes, I don't remember how many exactly, and then all these classes have all these subclasses. And then there's all these feats as well that you can choose from. But once you figure out what the classes and the subclasses are, and then you also figure out what all the feats are, because feats are shared amongst all the classes. They're just one big list instead of having class-specific feats. You kind of are like, oh, this game doesn't have a lot of customization, which is like at the point where I am at now, where I'm like, man, this game is fine, but it doesn't really have that much customization. Some classes do it better than others. Like, part of the reason I'm playing a warlock is for the invocations, because I think that's a lot of fun, and for the pact focus, because that's also a lot of fun. I think Warlock is one of the better classes on that end, but then you have stuff like, I don't know, Rogue or Fight, like basically any of the marshals are just like walk up, hit thing, done. And they made it a bit better in 5.5e with the weapon mastery stuff, I think, and some of the reworks that they've given to the classes. But I still think that, in my opinion, 5e doesn't do customization nearly well enough, and that kind of frustrates a lot of like the people that want to do the mechanics and want to do the customization. And that's something that I think Lancer does really well, because it gives you all a whole bunch of these options, but they actually like all matter. And it's not just choosing a class and then a subclass. It's choosing, oh, I'll take this license level for this weapon, and then I'll take 2 of these license levels for this frame, so I can throw this weapon onto this frame, and then take maybe these systems from this other license level. And you're actually like custom tailoring a build for yourself that, like you said, can be as simple or as complicated as you want.
Mm-hmm. Just to kind of like bring it up for anybody who doesn't know Lancer or hasn't looked at like CompCon or anything, there is like a laundry list worth of different mechs and things to choose from, and kind of as he was saying, it's not just like, let's say for my character, the one that I want to focus on primarily is like the Monarch, and you don't have to just build Monarch like top to bottom and just like stick to that. You can pick guns and things from other mechs and kind of put them onto that Monarch frame, and that goes into like your side to where you can get really creative with how you customize things and go through like every single one to try to like really dial in what you want to play as. But then it's nice that for someone like me who just kind of likes more of a plug and play kind of style, that it's like, all right, Monarch, I'm literally just going to build a Monarch and nothing else.
Yeah. I really like Lancer. Lancer's a good system.
Lancer is awesome. Only a few sessions in as of the time of recording, Lancer fucking bangs.
Yeah. One of the best systems I've got to play. It's great. But I think we should veer our way back onto the road. We are so off the highway right now. The highway of this podcast.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little back roads.
Or this episode's topic. We are like driving through the woods. So I'm gonna steer us back onto the road, and I'm gonna ask you. So we talked about making the characters, and we've talked about how 5e sucks, and what the feeling of 5e is for like making characters for a new player. But now that I think as of the time recording, we're about like 10 sessions in,
just about
something like that. How are you feeling about like actually playing the game? Like I understand, I think that this is kind of your first time ever doing roleplay stuff, and then this is your first time playing a TTRPG just in general as well. And how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, so there was like one other, I don't know if you remember the League of Legends based TTRPG that we did.
Oh, yeah.
So that was like technically the beginning, but it was so fast.
Yeah, we didn't do much in there. Yeah.
So, plus that character, I feel like I was super uncomfortable playing just because I built somebody that was like really boring, in my opinion. But from like episode 1 or like session 0 up until now, it definitely has gotten significantly more comfortable to do the role playing and everything. Like right at first I could tell that like anything that was directed my way was kind of like, oh shit, hold on, I gotta think about that, like how am I gonna answer this, to where now it almost feels like more of just like a normal conversation, to where you're already so like mentally in the headspace of the character.
Yeah,
and it makes it a lot easier. But there still are a lot of times where I think my my newness shows a bit, to where I've noticed that you specifically a couple of times will like, everybody will be going back and forth about something, and then you'll be like, so, Shiro, how do you feel about this? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost like getting like distracted, like just listening to everybody else roleplay also, and then it's like, oh shit, right, I am supposed to kind of be in the scene.
You are still a player.
How about it? But yeah, so that still kind of pops up every so often, to where I kind of almost forget that I need to respond in some instances.
You
I just
are not
don't
our
know.
audience.
I like don't know what to say sometimes as well. To where it's like everybody else kind of seems like they have a grasp on the situation, so I'm just gonna be quiet.
I mean, I think that's normal. Sometimes you just like, even it like, I would assume even the like best role players are like, damn, I have no idea what I'm saying. Like, it happens. Like, I wouldn't get too hung up on it. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
I do it all the time. And then usually, I say a dumb joke instead.
True.
But I don't know what to say. Oh, it's awful. But I'm happy that the role playing has gotten easier for you. How about the actual like game? Like session 1 versus whatever our most recent one was. How are you feeling about like your character and like playing 5e and like what you can and can't do with your character kind of thing?
I think I'm still maybe a little too new to feel like there isn't anything that I'm not achieving. Plus, I feel like with the Cracks in the Porcelain Border, I feel like it's very like story oriented as it is, to where like it doesn't really feel like we're specifically playing like a certain type of TTRPG. It's just like, here is the story that's laid out in front of you, and you are just going to take those pieces and run with them.
Yeah.
Like, thankfully, with me, because I would say that I'm a bit more combat-oriented as a player. Like, I would almost rather be doing content than role-playing, combat. Like, a good 50-50, and this definitely feels a bit more like 70-30 on the roleplay, which is fine, and I definitely think we, like, need that story for what we're saying, for what we're building. But I'm glad that I have the things like being able to go on the hunts with Shiro's character, just to be able to get a little bit more of the combat in, because the combat is very fun, and especially in that first hunt that I had done on like episode 3, I could tell that it was like, okay, roll this with disadvantage. And I'm like, cool, what the fuck does disadvantage mean?
But we figured it out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can tell you one thing that Shiro's not doing, and that's damage. You're getting carried by Char.
That honestly is so real. My bird takes the weight of all of my combat.
Yeah, it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up.
He's just a beast like that.
He's just a large beast. Just a large beast. I actually had this question. This is not a question for this episode of the podcast, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Where the hell do you keep Char at night? Like when you're in your house?
I just imagine it's literally like one of those little like parrot cage things, even though it's huge. And like he just has a little perch that he's just like sitting up on, just kind of chilling.
That's fun. That's pretty fun. I like that. Okay. Okay, I another question I want to ask you is, this is kind of like for the future, I suppose, but now that you are kind of more familiar with 5e, and like how it works and the mechanics of it, and like maybe a bit of the action economy and, you know, all the stuff, what would you do now for a character? Do you think? If you could take a guess. Like, I don't expect you to know like class, subclass and everything, but like what do you think you'd like want to lean into?
I kind of like honestly really enjoy the way that Shiro plays, and I think really, I mean, it is hard to think of like what I would do differently, because I feel like everything has worked pretty well in my own like headspace of it. If anything, I feel like just a character that's a bit more like exuberant and like not like the party face or anything by any means, but just someone that's willing to like kind of jump in more. And
yeah,
similarly with like Valsik's character, something about being a bard just seems very fun. So I think that would be something I'd like to try at some point if we ever do another 5e campaign.
Well, unfortunately, Slive has told us that we are not allowed to run 5e, punishable by death.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked
Given
up.
how the two of you feel about it, I could see this.
I agree with him, but it's fucked up.
It's kind of messed up that he'd do it, but also, like, he's right.
Like, I get it. Like, it's fine. Okay, cool. I want to move on to Lancer then. And I want to ask you, how do you feel about the character creation that we did for Rena versus for Endless Divide? Like, was there anything, like, did you do it any differently? Did you kind of just wing it?
So
That's what I do. But like, how is it different? I would say how does it feel different? How did you do it differently?
the one thing that I kind of kept the same for every character creation so far is I wanted to just take like a piece of an aspect of myself and just like run it up to 11 and like kind of base the whole character off of that one little piece.
You like the Cornhuskers?
Well, no, but I like football. So literally, like with Shiro, I think I might have said this on a different one, but it was like a certain part of my life I was going through like tough times, and I'm like, all right, let me take that and make that into a character that like went through something kind of similar. And then with Chutney, it was just like, well, I like sports, so what if there was just like a really obnoxious Southern dude who liked sports in this world? So that's kind of been
awesome.
like the main thread for the character creation, but other than that, I find enjoyment of kind of like making not silly characters, although Chutney is extremely silly, but like
He's so silly.
being able to kind of like branch out a little more than just like, I feel like Shiro is pretty much just me with a different flavor, to where Chutney, it's just like, all right, I'm really gonna like ham it up. I want to have like a silly character that's doing dumb stuff and says things outlandish. So I kind of took the reins off a little more with Chutney, and I enjoyed that.
I think it's good that it's in this campaign too, because we were specifically told by Edward, who's DMing this one, that this is kind of going to be like a less stakes, kind of funny, or well, not funny, but like less serious than Craft Porcelain Border is. So I think there's something to be said about having the comedy character be in the more lighthearted campaign. I feel like Chutney would not function very well in Porcelain Border.
Dude.
Although, actually, that now that I think about it, like the first session would be so funny, and then it would just be miserable after that.
Oh yeah, that thinking about it would just be hilarious. Of just like the super serious campaign, and then it just like cuts to him being like, "Damn, that god lady's kind of creepy."
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny, but it wouldn't do very good things to the tone of the story.
No,
so yeah, I think it really works. I actually really like. This is off topic. We're driving back into the woods.
Let's go.
We're off roading in the Honda Civic.
Yeah, I like that.
And I actually really like everybody's character for Endless Divide, because nobody is like too serious.
No, I think probably the most serious one would be Micah's character, and even she is like not that serious.
Yeah,
it's kind of more just like the mom of the group, like, all right, you dorks, get the hell over here. Let's.
And I think that really works as well. I think we have a really good party dynamic going on there, and we really lean into it. Like with the cookie scene in the first episode, that was awesome.
I do think that you need, not, this isn't mandatory by any means, but like it helps to have somebody who at least tries to get things back on track. Because I know that between the two of us and Slive that we could definitely just sit there and riff about the dumbest shit on earth for like a half an hour.
Yeah, we could do bits for an hour instead of actually progressing the story.
And as funny as that is, there is an end goal, so it's nice to have Micah's character kind of be like, all right, chill out, we need to stop.
Yeah. Cool. How are you feeling about not really the character creation, but like the mech creation part of the game?
So that, similarly for a newer player, it does kind of feel like a lot, but I feel like Lancer is very friendly towards, like I said, kind of doing like a plug and play, to where you can just look at one mech and just be like, yeah, I'm just going to build that. And to where all you do is just like put every single like point into that. And I do like how the weapons are also like versatile as well, to where you don't have to just like specifically have like one weapon attached to a mech, like with the whole building of the different choices, where I can't think of the right word for it, but kind of like the material weapon, to where you kind of create it at the beginning of the session, and then that's just what you're using.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
The one for the engineer, I forgot.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called exactly, but it's fun. Like how in the last recorded session, I just decided that it was going to be like a comically large M16, to where it can be pretty much anything. But my brain was just like, that'd be funny, so that's what I'm going to use.
Yeah, I think Lancer does a really good job of like its balance. I don't think there's a single mech that's like so overwhelmingly good that you like are mandatory to have at least one in the party. And I think that's a really good thing. There are a few mechs in the game that are kind of subpar. First one I can think of is the Atlas, just kind of sucks at its job. But even then, like I've like theory crafted a few Atlas builds, and it's not the worst thing. Like you can still get shit done. It's just like it's not the best thing. But overall I do think the balance is really good. And another thing I think is really good is that there's a good variety of like super complex mechs and then like super simple mechs.
Oh yeah.
Across all four of the companies. There's always going to be that one mech that is like super simple, doesn't do like does one thing but does it like really well, and then there's going to be another mech that's like super complicated and you have to like think about it constantly. Like I think the best example I can come up with off the top of my head is the Monarch is fairly simple of an artillery mech, relative to the rest of the artillery mechs, and then you can compare that with like the Calendula, which is a support mech that you like. The Calendula has a lot happening in its kit, and I think it's really cool. It has like clones that it puts out. I think it has some kind of invulnerability. There's just a lot to keep track of. So there's a variety of things for different players that want to achieve different things. And if you're looking for a mechanically complex mech, there's always going to be at least one in each company, and if you're looking for something simple, there's always going to be at least one in each company as well.
And just to kind of continue the Lancer glazing episode, one thing that I just do like genuinely love about it, which I don't know if like 5e has anything like this or if it like can be implemented, but I feel like Lancer has a really good like risk and reward system for pretty much everything, to where like the grenade launcher, whatever it is that I have for my character, where it does significantly more damage than any of my other weapons, but like I have to take heat for it, and I like have to not be able to move if I'm going to fire it. Like it just I love that like if you want to do something more like stronger, that you have to kind of pay for it at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. 5e doesn't really have anything like that, but that's because I think 5e and Lancer are fundamentally they take combat in fundamentally different directions, where Lancer is a risk and reward game, and 5e is a resource management game. Which not a lot of people think about that, but I do think 5e is at its core a resource management game, because all of your very powerful abilities, they don't have a punishment for using them other than that you can't use them again. So you have to like take a short rest or take a long rest to give the charges back. And that's where the resource management comes in, is like you have to plan, is now the right time to use this once per long rest super powerful ability, or should I save it for later? Whereas Lancer is like, I can do this super powerful thing all the time, but can I really? Because I'm also paying for it in heat or in damage or in burn or something, right? So they take two different approaches, and I think they're both fine. They're both fine ways to do combat, I think. I do think that the risk-reward aspects of Lancer are a bit more engaging than the resource management style of 5e, but I also don't hate the resource management of 5e. That's why I've basically stolen it all and put it into my own game.
I mean, I
But
definitely. Oh, sorry, but I do see like the benefit of that, but I guess it is kind of more of a subjective thing as well, to where some people might really enjoy like that whole resource management style of it, but to me, with a lot of those things, it kind of just looks like, all right, I can use it 3 times. That's pretty much the end of my thought process on it, is that I only have limited use, to where with like for Lancer, it feels more of like I have to really think of like, is taking that extra heat worth it, or is taking this damage or not being able to move for my turn going to like positively benefit the outcome of using the weapon. So subjectively, I think that is significantly more engaging to have that type of system.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I like both. I think both are cool. I think I like Lancer better than... Well, no, I don't think I do. I like Lancer better than I like 5e, but that's mostly because of the customization aspects of it that we were talking about previously. Because I really, really, really like making builds for stuff. I think that's a lot of fun, instead of just having like, oh, class, subclass, boom. And then also just like the things the weapons do and the things that the systems do in Lancer are, in my opinion, just a lot more interesting than what you can accomplish in 5e rules as written. 5e is a lot of in its feat design and its class design. It's a lot of you can hit harder, or you get advantage, or you add this to the roll, and there's not a lot of variety in that. Like, there's some, but not as much as I think Lancer has. Lancer has like, this weapon does a bit of damage, and then also conditionally does a lot of other things. And I think those condition stuff, like that condition stuff, is a lot better design, I think, than what 5e has, because 5e's just do damage. And here's how many charges you have to do that damage.
Mm-hmm. So really, yeah, the the entire point of that is play Lancer. Lancer,
yeah, true.
rocks.
Actually, this is the 5e hate Lancer glaze episode. Actually, we're changing it now.
Let's go. I don't even know what this topic was technically considered, but it is now why Lancer fucking rules.
That's true. That's true. Actually, this is an episode of why Tom Bloom rules, because I'm gonna drive further into the forest. And we're going to talk about Icon very briefly. I've been doing an Icon home game with some people, including Micah and Slive, and then 2 other people that are not on the podcast. And Icon is very, very... I think Icon it's not a finished game, but right now I think it is probably the best system that I've played. And I've only done 2 sessions of it, and I've read the core rule book. I love it because it's got the tactical intricacies of Lancer with all those like conditional stuff and the unique abilities that do different things other than just damage. And then also on the same, like in the same game, it's got a very, very well written narrative section. So the game is split up into 2 sections, narrative and tactical. Which are completely separate games, basically. And the narrative section is a lot of fun. I think it's got just enough depth to be engaging, but not a lot of intricacies to like kind of bog down roleplay scenes, because all the intricacies have been shoved into the tactical section, and it's just, I love it. It's a lot of fun. Tom Bloom, I will kiss you if I ever meet you.
That is a warning.
That's a warning. Don't meet me. I will kiss you. But I like highly recommend anybody who's looking for a new system to play with their group. Like if you're bored of 5e, like pretty much everybody, if you're like, it has its own setting, but you can kind of be setting it agnostic, although it does play better in the setting it's built for. So like, no matter the setting, I think it will work. Just play it. Please play it. It's free too, because it's in playtest. Hasn't been updated for a while because I think Tom Bloom's working on other things right now, but it hasn't been discontinued. Please play it.
There we go.
I think if I were to ever do my own campaign on this podcast, it would probably be in Icon, just because I love it so much. But anyway, I'm gonna steer the car back out of the forest and onto the road again.
Went all the way to the beach, enjoyed the view.
I'm so drunk. I should not be behind the wheel right now.
I knew I shouldn't have had 5 Mai Tais before we started this podcast.
I feel like Asgore.
Yeah.
From whatever. This is a dumb joke. This is stupid.
Like the fucking... Alright, I have to just go on a fucking side tangent real fast also. I'm bringing us into the forest now. I literally...
grab the wheel.
I almost named episode 4 of Cracks in the Porcelain Border Knox Gets a Concussion. Because it was like the rowdiest part of the entire episode, and nobody even knows the context of why you said that Knox gets a concussion. Which is awesome.
What? I don't even remember this.
So, I'll peel the curtain back for everyone to know. I had talked before we had started that session about how I used to work for Amazon, and that when I was working, I had like tripped and like somehow fell into my truck and gave myself a concussion. And it was a hoot and a holler, and everyone thought that it was funny. And then, like, an hour later in the episode, Knox fails his, like, vehicle handling thing and just goes, oh yeah, he falls and gets a concussion. And
it's so funny.
Everyone just roars with laughter and just laughs like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, nobody gets why that happened. So I almost named the episode Knox Gets a Concussion. Just for the sake of like, awesome. How good that was.
That's yeah. Like as soon as you said that you were an Amazon driver, I remembered why I said that.
So
that's so funny.
For any context for the episode that probably by the time this comes out was posted 6 months ago, that's why that happened.
Go back and watch episode 4, everybody.
Yeah, you know what? Just restart from the beginning, watch it all again.
Actually, that's true. You should restart it on 4 different YouTube accounts.
Yes.
Actually.
And then realize how bad our intro was when we started compared to now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, I'm grabbing the wheel. I'm pushing you back into your seat, and then I'm tying you down so you don't grab the wheel again. This is a stupid joke. This is stupid. I'm steering back onto the road because I have one more question I want to ask you.
All right.
And then we can have some like concluding thoughts after that. I want to ask you, as a new player to TTRPGs, which do you like better? Are you liking Lancer or are you liking 5e better?
I feel like we've pretty much already answered
I want a definitive answer here. Give me a definitive answer.
So, all right, I'll paint it from the newcomer's perspective for both sides, and then I'll give the true answer. So, I think 5e definitely has a lot of strengths, specifically in like the fantasy setting of like you can have your like fun magic and your arcana and everything, and it does give you a lot of different options both in character creation and in gameplay of different things to do, and there is a wealth of information that is available to you. It's just up to you to take it. And then for Lancer, I'm not as knowledgeable on the world around it just yet, just because we have been playing it for less time. But they're also, like I said with CompCon, you could literally go through like what feels like 1,000 different mechs to choose from, and then the gameplay feels more straightforward. And I also do like how the turn system is pretty much like, okay, party, you choose who goes first. I think that is a bit more fun than like the initiative rolls, personally. So, Lancer is significantly better, in my opinion. I think that 5e is very fun. And, like, obviously, the Porcelain Border podcast has been fantastic so far. And just something about Lancer, though, at least from, like, each podcast perspective, like, Lancer feels so much more like, turn your brain off. It's time to just start beating shit up. And I enjoy that a lot more, personally. And to where Porcelain Border, it's like, all right, I need to get into the mindset of, like, this harrowing world. And I have to do all of these like role-playing things of somebody who like really hates the world that they're in and is trying to like overthrow these really deep and dark things. And then Lancer, it's just like, all right, I'm going to talk about football and shoot grenades at people, and that's sick. So I think it's just more a bit like combat focused. So that's just kind of my own bias of like, I like combat a lot more. So I'm just going to like inherently enjoy Lancer more. But for anybody who likes role playing, I could see them getting a bit tired of the fact that like Lancer is so heavily combat focused. So
yeah, that's true.
It really just depends on what you enjoy personally, but for me, I like the combat part of TTRPGs, so I am a Lancer shill.
I love TAC RPGs. I love them. They're so much fun. Slive hates them. He keeps dying.
Real skill issue is what it sounds like.
That's true. That's true. Skill issue.
But I do enjoy role playing. Like I think that the role playing that we've done in Porcelain Border has been very enjoyable, and it's fun to kind of like play a character and be able to roll through that character in like their mindset and kind of make choices as if it's from like a third person perspective. So that is fun, but just something about like the combat and especially the pacing of the combat in Lancer just feels so good too, because it's so snappy and fast to where it's like, all right, definitely. I'm going to jump here, do this thing. Cool. All right, now it's their turn. They're going to shoot you because you decided to move. Like, it all feels so good.
I think part of that, at least for me, of why it feels so snappy is because there is a board with hexes on it that you have to look at. So you know exactly how far you can move and how far your abilities reach and like what AoE they occupy, whereas 5e is very often very abstract in how it describes that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So no boards are ever really used. You kind of just start doing it in the theater of the mind. I much prefer having a battle map with set squares that mean certain things.
Yeah, I do definitely agree, especially because like maybe I just haven't had enough time in 5e to feel it, but like something like distance literally has not been an issue so far. Like of the couple of combat sessions, there was just one time where it's like, okay, the lizard's 20 feet away than your range is. I'm like, okay, well I guess I'll move 20 feet and then attack.
Yeah, that's theater of the mind. It's fine, I guess, for certain people. I just prefer to have the battle map. It makes everything a lot easier to visualize, in my opinion, and makes it I think it makes it also a lot quicker because you can, like, on the app that we used Tabletop Simulator the first time and then Roll20 the second time as of recording. You can, instead of saying, DM, which ones can I attack? Who's in range? You can just point at the one you want to attack because you already know your range and be like, I'm going to fuck this guy up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of speeds up the turns, at least a little bit.
It definitely does. And it feels so much more engaging personally to where, like, maybe it does kind of, like, water down the, like, mental visual stimulants of, like, imagining what the world looks like, because it's just like, no, it's right there. There's your board. Like, that's what you're seeing. Yeah. To where 5e, you can kind of get a bit frillier with, like, how you see everything around you, but I also do agree that personally having like a board makes everything feel like it moves faster, and it just helps me be more engaged because I can watch things walk up closer to me and go, okay, that's the problem now.
That's bad.
But I would like to jump into the driver's seat for a brief moment before we wrap this up.
You're kicking me out of the car
while we're going 80 miles an hour.
Yeah,
we are changing seats.
We're so fast right now.
And because I've always been curious on more of like a DM's perspective on things, what system, and it doesn't have to be just those two, like what system do you think is more enjoyable personally to build a world in? And like between like, let's say Lancer and 5e, I'll kind of ask two questions at the same time. Which one of those two, like what are the good things and bad things on being a DM for the both of those, since I feel like we've kind of been in a player's perspective for most of this.
Yeah, certainly. So I have not DM'd Lancer before.
I don't know why, I assumed that you did.
No, not me. But I can kind of give at least somewhat of an answer here. As for what is more fun to build a world in, I prefer the more setting agnostic a game is, the better, because then you can just insert your own setting into that. So I think if I were to build like a campaign in either one of those, I would probably have a better time building the world in 5e, because Lancer, as much fun as it is, if I had to choose one of those two systems to DM, it would be Lancer if I had to choose one of them. But for exclusively building the world, I think I'd have a more enjoyable time doing 5e, and that's because Lancer has lore already. That is not impossible to ignore, but fairly difficult to ignore. It has the 4 companies. It has, like, each company has their strengths and weaknesses in their mech design. They have their own backstory going back like hundreds of years. There's a whole world that's already been set up for it. Whereas 5e doesn't really have that. I mean, it has its own stories. It has like Sword Coast, it has Forbidden Realms and stuff like that, but you don't need those to do anything in 5e. There are very few subclasses that make direct references to these kind of already built by Wizards of the Coast settings, and the ones that do can very, very easily be removed or changed to adjust that. Like the Artificer, when it was originally introduced in the first edition of 5e, it was a Forbidden Realms thing. It was introduced with Eberron, the Eberron book, so it was built for that. But it doesn't need to be for that. For Lancer, it really feels like when you pick a Barbarossa, it has to be for Harrison Armory. When you pick a Pegasus, it has to be for Horus. It like, you can't really change those that much to be something different. However, that's just for world building. For the actual DMing, I think 9 times out of 10 take Lancer over 5e. For all the reasons that we've mentioned so far on this episode, I just think Lancer's more fun, more engaging, more tactical. It does lack on the narrative front, I think, a little bit, at least, like we mentioned. It doesn't have a lot of narrative play involved that is that in depth. But if I were to choose one, it would be Lancer, even though I think being a DM for Lancer, this is like my perspective from DMing Icon, which is similar to Lancer but not exactly the same, is that DMing for Lancer is a lot more involved in the combat but less involved for the actual narrative. So you really have to go in with that mindset of being able to do the combat and to like do it justice. Versus in 5e, you have to be a lot more engaged in the story and the narrative to make the game engaging, I think. And you can focus less on making the combat, like DMing the combat and arbitrating the combat.
Yeah, that actually, you kind of like just made me realize something that I haven't like consciously realized, that like
oh yeah,
in Porcelain Border, like I feel like it's basically Slive telling us a story and then we just kind of like attach ourselves to it and like help progress it, to where I feel like with Endless Divide, Edward is like the person you hear the least each episode. I think it's pretty much like he gives us
scenarios, and then
like,
we just show up.
It's a lot less involved, which I didn't really acknowledge that until you said it, but I'm like, yeah, I feel like Edward pretty much is just like, this is the scene, go.
Yeah, the heavy lifting for the DM and Lancer definitely comes in during the combat section, whereas in 5e it comes in just in general for the narrative, I think.
So I feel like that's just another kind of like subjective thing of like, you know, if you don't really want to basically play combat as a DM, then
yeah, don't play Lancer if you don't like combat. Yeah, go, like, if you don't like combat, as much as I like Lancer and I will glaze it to the ends of the earth, don't play it if you don't like combat. It is almost exclusively a combat game. Go play Icon instead, because it's got that tactical stuff, and then it's also got the narrative stuff.
Perfect. Well,
thank you, Tom Bloom, for existing.
So true. Base Tom Bloom. Is there any other things that we've got on the docket before we head on out of here?
I don't think so. I think I've pretty much asked you everything.
Matter of fact, there is one more deeply important question.
Oh yeah?
On this vehicle of the mind that we've been in for the last hour, where are we going?
Bitch, I don't know. No idea.
We're just driving. With no destination.
We're just,
you know?
Yeah, we're just driving.
All right, well, I hope there's food wherever we go. I had to take that.
Are you hungry?
We've had. Yes, actually. Literally, as soon as we're done recording this, I'm going to make dinner.
Yo, can you make me something?
Yeah, I got you. Hope you like rice bowls, because that's what's on the menu.
Yo, yeah, just like throw it all the way over here.
Yeah, no problem. Just like a multi-thousand-mile throw.
Yeah, no, it's not that far.
It's totally fine.
It's not that far. Don't be a bitch.
How about you stop complaining and just do it?
Yeah, it's simple. Just build a big weapon. You shoot at me.
The fucking rice bowl shooter.
This is dumb.
It is.
Whatever. We're gonna crash, I think.
Okay.
In our car.
We just end the episode screaming.
I actually don't know what our outro is for this show.
Not much, really. Would you like me to tag in for the outro?
Yeah. Is this staying in?
It could. I'm the editor.
That would be really funny.
I choose what happens now.
Thank you for sleep talking, sleep talkers. We'll sleep talk you later.
You better wake up.
And wake up or something.
You've been in a coma for 18 months. Your family misses you.
Yeah, your dad has visited every week, has said something to you. That's why you keep hearing the voices. Wake up. Wake up.
I've been wanting to do this bit ever since our outro tag was "Wake Up" since I heard it. But I'm like, that can't go in a porcelain border session. That just would ruin the
Should have done it. Should have done it on the episode where Valsic died.
True. Oh my god, that'd be so funny.
Just wake up, Valsic.
Valsic, wake up! The episode's over, please.
Wake the fuck up, samurai.
Alright, well, let's wrap this up for real, since that was a faux outro. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this faux interview, aka pretty much just two dudes yapping for an hour. Hopefully it was entertaining, at least, if not a little bit educational as well. But thank you all for watching as well. We do truly appreciate it. You can check us out on all those socials and everything, and comment, subscribe, smack that like button, dude.
Hit that bell.
Dude, we can't have two bitters on the same episode, dude. It'll never end. Right. Sorry.
Subscribe to our Patreon.
Yes. And thank you for watching one more time. It does truly mean the most. And until next time, wake up. This has been Sleep Talk. We'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.